While he was still speaking, a crowd came up, and the man who was called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He approached Jesus to kiss him, but Jesus asked him, "Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss?" When Jesus' followers saw what was going to happen, they said, "Lord, should we strike with our swords?" And one of them struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his ear. But Jesus answered, "No more of this." And he touched the man's ear and healed him. The man who rises from prayer and walks from the garden is a transformed one, a transformed man from the one who was sweating drops of blood. He's handed all things over to his Father. He's placed himself in his Father's hands. He has now left the outcome to him. It is no longer a burden that he carries. And that has an amazing effect. In the next 24 hours, those around him will be caught up in chaos and in subterfuge and hastily assembled, trumped-up courts. Some are going to be perplexed and confused. Some will fear. There will be some who intimidate, and there will be manipulations of various kinds. There will be desertion. There will be false accusations, miscarriages of justice. It's a whirlwind of darkness and evil, and everyone is caught up in its turbulence, washed away in the flood of it, even as though events themselves are calling the shots, as it were. And yet Jesus, through it all, is like a rock, a pool of still water. For he has handed the outcome to his Father. It seems as though he doesn't have any control of events, and yet he is the only one in control of himself, his actions, his responses, his words. And in seeking to follow his example, we are to notice that we see this profound peace and poise at his arrest as he rises from the place of surrendered prayer. Rather than take things into his own hands, he allows his Father to fulfill his purposes for him. And that gives Jesus this remarkable freedom from self-interest. For God's looking after events now, and a freedom to love others, even his enemies. Jesus is maneuvered into this twisted betrayal by a kiss, but calls Judas friend. We almost see compassion for him in his eyes. And then as Peter takes a sword and attacks, Jesus moves to heal and restore. He sees no need to resist the evil coming his way, but responds with love. When we respond to evil with love, it is robbed of its power. It is castrated. That is one way in which the cross is going to work. And he starts right here on the edge of the garden. He loves his enemies. The call to love our enemies is an affront to our pride. It's an assault on our dignity. But it is the doorway to peace and true humanity. Jesus had taught, love your enemies. And now he lived it. He shows us the way. God help us to follow. God help us to become like Jesus.